The snow hit harder than any winter Nathan Blake had seen. As he pulled over, he wasn't expecting to find anyone out there. But there she was, barefoot in the storm, drenched and shaking. She looked like she'd walked straight out of hell. He didn't ask questions. He just wrapped her in his coat, whispered, "You're safe now," and carried her to his truck. What he didn't know, she was the missing CEO the entire nation was searching for. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. Nathan Blake wasn't supposed to be driving tonight. The storm had rolled in faster than the forecast warned, and Fairview's old country roads were already a blur of white. But when you're a single dad, sometimes staying in isn't an option. He leaned forward, squinting through the windshield, hands tight around the wheel of his aging pickup. The heater coughed lukewarm air, barely keeping the cabin warm. In the back seat, wrapped in a flannel blanket, his 9-year-old daughter, Emma, dozed with a book open on her lap. He had just delivered firewood to a retired schoolteacher 2 miles back, a woman with no family, whose furnace had gone out. The money didn't matter. What mattered was that she wouldn't freeze alone tonight. That's how Nathan was wired. Not because he had a hero complex. He just knew what it was like to be left out in the cold. His headlight beam caught something ahead. A figure. Still, half fallen in a snow-filled ditch. Bare skin. No coat. No shoes. What the hell? He hit the brakes, and the truck skidded slightly before jerking to a stop. Snow flew as he leapt out and dashed toward the silhouette, boots crunching into the powder. She wasn't moving. Her clothes were torn, soaked, her knees scraped raw, and she shook violently. She tried to lift her head, but her body gave up first. Hey, I've got you." Nathan crouched beside her, pulling off his parka. He wrapped her in it and gently lifted her up. She gasped at his touch, not from pain, but pure shock. "You're okay now. I'm not going to hurt you. You're safe, all right? You're safe now." He looked down. Her eyes, wide, terrified, but conscious, stared right into him. "So you can't go back," she whispered. "You're not going back anywhere tonight," he muttered. "You're coming with me." By the time they reached the truck, Emma was sitting up, eyes wide. "Dad, she's freezing. Honey, slide over." Emma moved without question. Nathan carefully placed the woman across the back seat, then turned the heater on full blast. She didn't say anything else the whole drive, but she held his jacket tight, as if it were the only thing left keeping her in this world. And Nathan, he didn't realize that the woman, now shivering in his truck, was the face on every missing person report in the state. Nathan's cabin wasn't much. A single-story wooden structure tucked into the side of a wooded hill, 2 rooms, a crackling wood stove, and creaky floorboards that groaned louder in the cold. But it was warm, it was quiet, and tonight, it was her only refuge. He carried the woman inside like a ghost in his arms. Emma ran ahead, pulling blankets from the couch and dragging them to the floor beside the fire. "She needs hot tea, right, Daddy? That's what you made me when I was sick." Nathan nodded, gently lowering the woman onto the blanket pile. She still hadn't spoken since whispering in the snow. Her eyes darted toward the front door, as if someone might barge in behind them. Her breaths were shallow, her knuckles scraped. Something had happened to her. Something bad. He knelt beside her, holding out a steaming mug. "It's peppermint," he said softly. "I'd offer something stronger, but this is a dry house. I've got an old quilt that's seen better days, and a stove that'll fight the cold till morning. You're safe here." Her trembling fingers reached out, barely brushing the ceramic before pulling back. He didn't press. He just draped the quilt around her shoulders and sat back beside Emma. "Daddy," Emma whispered, tugging on his sleeve. "Who is she?" Nathan looked over at the woman again, her face pale but sharp, with features too refined for someone who wandered into a snowstorm like a ghost. She didn't look homeless. She didn't look crazy. She looked lost. "I don't know," he murmured. The woman finally spoke. Barely. "Claire." Nathan leaned in. "Claire." She nodded, blinking slowly. "My name. I think. You think." She winced, touching her temple. There was a building, glass walls, bright lights. "I ran." Emma looked confused. "You ran from a building?" Claire's hand shook again. "I don't remember where I came from. I just remember voices. Yelling. A man's face. Then pain." Nathan swallowed hard. "Pain." She nodded. "I was someone. I think. But now I'm nobody." "No," Emma said firmly, reaching for her hand. You're not nobody. You're Claire. That simple moment, that small act of kindness from a child, it cracked something in Claire. Her lip trembled, and for the first time, she allowed a tear to fall. Nathan stood. You need rest. My daughter and I are going to let you get some sleep. You're safe here tonight, Claire. No one knows you're here, and no one will find you unless you want them to. He led Emma to the bedroom and left the fire burning. That night, Nathan sat awake in the doorway, staring into the orange glow of the living room. Claire lay curled by the hearth, asleep but restless. Her face twitched in her sleep. Her breath caught, and twice she whispered one word. Boardroom. It didn't mean much to Nathan then, but by the time the morning news hit the screen, it would mean everything. Because tomorrow, that same woman would be on every TV. Her photo splashed across the screen. Breaking. Billionaire tech CEO Claire Halston reported missing after explosive leak. Suspected foul play. Morning sunlight fought through the gray haze of the storm. It was the kind of cold that felt permanent, the kind that made you question if spring had ever existed. Nathan stood in the kitchen, flipping pancakes on a scratched skillet while the coffee pot hissed behind him. Emma sat at the small wooden table, swinging her legs, eyeing Claire like she was a puzzle waiting to be solved. Claire still wore Nathan's oversized flannel shirt, sleeves rolled 3 times over, and sat stiffly near the fire like she didn't trust warmth anymore. Her bruises were starting to purple. A few cuts had scabbed, but it wasn't her body that looked broken. It was her eyes. Wide, distant, tracking every sound like a survivor of war. You sleep okay? Nathan asked. Claire nodded faintly. I didn't dream, she whispered. That was nice. He poured her coffee. That mean you're ready to tell me anything else about where you came from? She stared at the cup. Not yet. Emma slid a plate in front of her. Daddy makes the best pancakes. He says the secret is cinnamon, but I think it's love. Claire smiled, the first real one. I think it's both. Nathan chuckled. Well, if you remember anything else, let me know. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay until you figure things out. As Emma turned on the TV to watch her Saturday cartoons, Nathan moved to the sink, but his hands froze. Claire's face appeared on the screen. Breaking news. Claire Halston, CEO of Halston Tech Systems, missing since Thursday. The reporter continued. Authorities are calling her disappearance suspicious. Surveillance footage showed her entering a private garage 2 nights ago, but never exiting. Her car was found abandoned near Fairview State Forest. A reward has been issued. Officials have not ruled out abduction or internal foul play. Her company shares have plummeted overnight. Emma turned slowly. Daddy, isn't that? Claire stood up so fast she knocked over the coffee. Nathan rushed to mute the TV, turning toward her. Claire, sit. You're okay. She backed toward the door. I shouldn't be here. You don't understand. If they find me, you and your daughter, you're not going anywhere, he said firmly. Her voice cracked. Nathan, I wasn't just a CEO. I was uncovering something illegal in my own company. Money laundering, defense contracts, stuff that shouldn't exist. I was going to turn it over, but someone found out. That night, I was ambushed. Emma clutched her stuffed bear, confused and scared. Claire knelt, looking the little girl in the eyes. Sweetheart, I promised I would never bring danger to you, but some very powerful people are trying to erase me. Not just stop me. Erase me. Nathan stepped forward. Then let them come. I fought in Fallujah. I've seen evil before. You think I let some suits and black coats hurt my kid? Or you? Claire shook her head. They're not like the enemies you've faced. He gave a grim smile. That's what they all think, until they realize I don't scare easy. She stared at him, breathless. I can't go to the police, she whispered. They've been compromised. The lead detective was on the board. Then we do this my way, Nathan said. Old school. We make a plan. We protect Emma. And we make sure the people who did this don't just get exposed. They get everything coming to them. Claire's eyes glistened. Why would you help me? He shrugged. Because my daughter thinks you're worth saving. And honestly, I do too. That night, the wind picked up again. Nathan sat at the small wooden table with a notepad in front of him, the same one he used to jot down hardware orders and budget plans. Now, it had something far more dangerous scribbled across it. Names, arrows, times, phone numbers he recognized from Claire's memory. Claire paced behind him, arms folded tight, while Emma slept in the bedroom, unaware the world outside her window had changed forever. You really think this will help? Claire asked, voice low. Nathan looked up. Paper and pen won't get hacked. And memories are hard to kill. What else do you remember? She hesitated. There was a man. Paul Stinson. He was our CFO. But he had too much access. Unauthorized funds. Shell companies in the Caymans. When I confronted him, he smiled and said, "You're not bulletproof, Claire." That night I was ambushed. I don't remember how I escaped. Nathan nodded. Probably instincts. People under pressure either freeze or run. You ran. And ended up half dead in a ditch, she muttered bitterly. He leaned forward. But you're alive. That means they failed. Claire stopped pacing. Her shoulders sagged. You have no idea who these people are, Nathan. You think this is some corporate dispute? They have offshore security teams. They don't use lawyers. They use cleaners. You don't just stand up to them and walk away. Nathan pushed the notepad aside. Then don't walk. Run through them. Claire blinked. You don't even know me. Why would you risk everything for me? Because I've seen people like you before, he said, his voice quieter now. Not CEOs. Not rich women. But good people. Brave ones. People who tried to speak up and got torn down. He rubbed the scar on his wrist, the one no one ever asked about. I had a buddy. Navy medic. He tried to expose something in our unit. Got labeled unstable. Dishonorably discharged. Died homeless 3 years later. No one listened to him. I didn't stop it. Still haunts me. Claire stood still. You're not the first they try to silence, Nathan said. But maybe this time, someone fights back. She lowered her head, tears falling silently onto the hardwood floor. The next morning, Nathan sent Emma to school with Mrs. Laverne. Told her they were fixing a plumbing leak. Told her not to worry. Back at the house, Claire sat with a burner laptop Nathan had pulled from a locked cabinet in the shed. His old military stuff. She opened encrypted files from memory. Names. Logs. Secretive transfers. Nathan leaned over her shoulder. What's this one? He pointed. Claire paused. That's a code name. Project LYNX. Supposed to be a research grant. But these payments, they're fake. The money's being funneled into a private defense shell company. Billions. With political ties. You realize this makes you a threat, Nathan said. Claire whispered. I always was. I just didn't know how far they'd go. Suddenly, Nathan's phone buzzed. A number he didn't recognize. Blocked caller. He didn't answer, but the voicemail that followed made his blood run cold. A voice. Calm. Clipped. Mr. Blake. We know who you're sheltering. Walk away now, before your daughter becomes a headline. Nathan's jaw clenched. His fingers curled into fists. Claire's face went pale. They found me. He looked at her. No, they just made the biggest mistake of their lives. Nathan didn't say a word after the voicemail. He walked outside into the snow, stood beneath the old pine tree near the edge of the woods, and stared up at the sky like he was praying. He wasn't. He was remembering. The kind of remembering that comes before war. Inside, Claire's hands were shaking. Not from fear anymore, but from rage. They know your daughter's name? She whispered. This is my fault. I need to disappear again. Nathan stepped back in and slammed the door shut. You're not going anywhere. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. Nathan snapped, the calm in his voice now layered with steel. I've watched this world chew up people like you. Brave people. Kind people. My job isn't to throw you to the wolves. My job is to show them who really owns the damn woods. Claire stared at him, stunned. What are you going to do? I'm going to give them what they want, he said, grabbing his coat. 3 hours later, they were at a storage unit 2 towns over. Nathan opened a locked steel door. Inside, gear he hadn't touched since Fallujah. Tactical maps, duct-taped burner phones, an encrypted laptop powered by solar, USB drives marked with old case codes. He wasn't just a veteran. He was once intel. Why do you have all this? Claire asked quietly. Because the government doesn't protect whistleblowers, he said. But sometimes someone else does. She handed him the LYNX files, loaded onto a drive. If I release this without proof I'm alive, they'll claim I forged it. I need to go public. Visibly. I need the world to see my face. Nathan thought for a second, then said, we go to the one place they can't stop it. Where? He gave a half smirk. Live TV. 8:56 p.m., Dayton, Ohio. A community fundraising gala was being broadcast statewide from an event center, hosted by a charity Claire once funded anonymously. The event was live-streamed on multiple platforms. It was small, but credible. And most importantly, unfiltered. Nathan walked her through the back entrance, dressed like catering staff. Claire wore a beanie, makeup covering her bruises, and a fire burning in her chest. At exactly 9:07 p.m., Claire Halston stepped onto the stage unannounced. Cameras turned. Guests gasped. A producer screamed off-screen. And then she spoke. "This company tried to kill me," she began, her voice shaking but loud enough to carry. "My name is Claire Halston, and I was never missing. I was running for murderers inside my own company. People who use my name to launder defense money by silence and control contracts worth billions." Gasps. Phones up. Livestream comments exploded. She held up the flash drive. "This contains every transaction, every fake grant, every payoff. I stayed quiet to protect myself. But a man and his daughter show me something I forgot. That staying silent protects the abusers, not the abused." Security lunged. But Nathan was already moving. He intercepted 2 guards mid-stride. They weren't cops. They were hired private security. He slammed one into the table, twisted the other's wrist until he dropped his comms. By the time chaos erupted, Claire had already uploaded the drive. Live. On air. In real time. Nathan pulled her off stage, sprinted through the kitchen, and within seconds they vanished into the night. 1 week later, national headlines blared across the country. CEO exposes billion-dollar scandal live on air. Arrest warrants issued. Senators implicated. Company board resigns. Whistleblower protected by unknown veteran. FBI opens investigation. Nathan refused interviews. He didn't want his name in lights. But he did accept one thing: a handwritten letter delivered to his porch in an envelope with no return address. "Nathan, you saved my life, not just from them, but from the belief that silence was safety. I'm starting over, somewhere far, somewhere quiet. But I've transferred something to your name, a trust for Emma. For every ounce of warmth she gave me that night. Keep being the man this world forgets to thank." Claire. Emma was playing in the yard, giggling as snowflakes fell around her. Nathan watched from the porch, coffee in hand. She turned and yelled, "Daddy, are we going to build a snow fort?" He smiled. "Only if we make it big enough to keep the whole world safe." And behind them, hidden in the trees, a black SUV slowly drove past. Watching, waiting, but didn't stop. Because they knew something now they didn't before. You don't touch a soldier's peace. Not twice.